right, good morning, everyone. We're going to give everybody just a second to come on here. Let's tag everybody. So I'm going to go through and tag everybody here so that you get a notification. I know there's been some problems yesterday. Not everybody received a notification that we went live. No worries, and that's what the replay is for. Group is growing, so give me just a second here. Over 60 of you in the group. Really awesome. Appreciate you all being here. All right, so everybody who is in the group at this point should have been tagged. Let's just give it another second here. I'm going to go on the other side, check out my computer, and let's make sure that I can see everything. Now, if you are on here live, let me know you can hear me. Yeah, I got inside. Perfect. That's good to go. All right, now if you did not get tagged, let me know. It could be that we are not Facebook friends. You might be in this group, but it might just be that we are not Facebook friends. But we're going to go ahead. Perfect. Yeah, let's get on after. I know it's a little bit early, especially for those of you that are out on the West Coast. But again, that's what the replay is for. Now, before we dive in here, just wanted to give a shout out to everybody who did catch that replay and who left comments down below. That was really exciting to go through and see everybody and learn a little bit about how long you've been playing, what the best score is that you've shot, and any issues that you might have from the physical side or even from the mental side, because we're going to cover that as well. So the idea here, like we talked about in yesterday's orientation, is the challenge is to commit 5 to 10 minutes each day into moving better. And so what we're going to do over this first 10 days is I'm going to take a mobility routine that is usually one of the first things that I teach players that I work with, and we're going to break it down into its 10 different components. And we're going to work on each of those different components for the next 10 days. By the time those 10 days are done, you'll have learned and understand each of the elements that goes into it, and then the remainder of the challenge at 20 days is building the habit of doing that full routine. Because the research says that in about 3 weeks, about 20 days, habits are formed. So this first 10 days are learning all the pieces, learning why we're doing them, learning how to do them properly, and then for the final 20 days, we're going to put them all together and challenge ourselves to go through the entire routine. And that way we spend our 5 to 10 minutes learning each element, and then by the time we're done, it only takes us 5 or 10 minutes to go through the full routine. So let me just give it one more second here, give everybody a chance to come on. Looks like perfect, we do have more people to tag here. Not sure why it didn't pop up the first time around, but let's at least get everybody tagged. Now, I'll be curious for those of you, especially watching either live or the replay, let me know, did you get a notification that I went live? Were you able to find it fairly easily? You know, we're going to be learning as we go here together. Let's just make sure that you can hear me as well. If anybody is watching live, if you could drop in the comments a thumbs up if you can hear me. Perfect. All right, so without further ado, let's dive into today's mobility. So the first element in this routine that we're going to be working on addresses our wrists and our ankles. We got a comment here. Found easily, got notification. Thank you, Suzanne. That's perfect, especially I know you had some issues yesterday, so that's great news that you were able to find it easily. Awesome. So let's dive on in. So the first thing that we want to understand is that not every area of the body should be, quote, stretched. And there are certain key mobile joints of the body, which is what we're going to be focusing on, but there's also stable parts of the body that aren't meant to move around a lot. And if we do a lot of stretching on those stable areas, we can actually cause other issues to come up. Now, the 6 key mobile joints are the wrist, the shoulder, the neck, the thoracic spine, the hips, and the ankles. And in this first element, we're going to work 2 of those at the very same time. We're going to work our wrists and we're going to work our ankles. So let's go ahead and balance on one leg as best we can. If you need to hold on to something for now, go ahead and do that. Over the long run, we're going to try to remove our reliance on other things, because part of this is getting the balance centers to wake up. Our feet are meant to be very strong, stable proprioceptors, or feelers of the world, if you will. And we have very, very high amounts of nerve endings on the bottom of our feet to give us sensory feedback. And so we want to keep those awake. But our feet, while they're designed to create power and grab the ground, the ankle is meant to be mobile, so it can move around and transfer that power through the leg. And the same thing happens with our wrists. Our hands are power producers. They're fine-tuned implements. But if we're holding something, say a golf club, and we want our arms to be able to hinge and bend and fold and do everything that they can, we need our wrists to be functional. So we're working on ankles and wrists at the same time. So let's balance on just your left leg, and let's raise your right leg up nice and high. The higher, the better. Although the whole name of the game throughout this challenge is don't go beyond yourself. If you need to start with your foot barely off the ground, that's great. And by the end of the challenge, maybe you can get it up higher. So it's a great way to judge. So we're getting our foot as high as we can, and then we're going to grab our forearm and squeeze it fairly tight. So if my right leg is up, then I'm squeezing my right forearm. And just so you can see, the way I like to squeeze it is I'll take my fingers and put them in a line so we make a row, and that row in the fingers goes down the forearm, parallel with the forearm. We have two bones in this forearm, and they run right down this way, and we're trying to get kind of down and in between them, because this area gets super gunky and super tight, especially if you use your hands a lot. Say you're typing, you're texting, or you're doing things, our forearms get really, really neglected. If you've ever had carpal tunnel or anything like that, this is usually a sign of inflammation through that area. So let's work on it. All right, so we got our leg balanced nice and high. We're squeezing our forearm and squeeze it nice and tight. Now, as we're squeezing, we're going to take our fingers and our toes. They're both up at 12 o'clock, and then they're at 3 o'clock, and then 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And we're going to do hand and foot circles at the same time. It's not about how fast we go. It's about the quality of movement. I want a big range of motion. As we're doing this, we're feeling the tissues underneath our fingers here in the forearm. We're feeling these tissues start to break up and release tension that goes through the palm, through the hand, up the arm, through the shoulder. At the same time, when we're balancing on our leg, we're fighting for stability, waking up those balance centers, but we're also improving the range of motion in the foot and through the ankle. As we're working the foot, we want our toes to try to splay open. As we're working the hand, we're trying to splay the fingers open. So we're squeezing, we're doing our circles. Now in the full routine, we're just going to be doing about 5 to 10 in each direction before switching sides. Obviously, with this being day one, we're going a little bit farther so that we can learn the intricacies of these different elements so that we can put them together at the end. So let's go do our other side. Balancing now on our right leg. Left leg is nice and high, however high you can get it. And now we're going to squeeze the forearm on our left arm. Same thing, fingers down in a row. My fingers are open, my toes are splayed, and we're trying to get these to work together. I don't want the hand to go and the foot to be all off. By coordinating them, by getting our hand and our foot to work together at the same time, it really challenges the communication between our mind and our body. They have to work together. And by coordinating our thoughts with our actions, we complete kind of our ability to perform throughout the day. It's kind of like booting up the computer. We have to download the code. We have to tell the software what we want it to do. And by spending these few minutes in the morning waking those balance centers up and improving our range of motion, we've set the tone for the rest of the day, and we're more likely to move better throughout the day. Now, something that I'm sure I'm going to get a question about, so I might as well answer it now, is where we push on this arm can change. It can be down here in the middle, it can be down here, it can be up top. You can put more pressure in the center, off to the side, the under part of the arm. Where you're applying pressure isn't as important as applying pressure in the first place. And we apply pressure so that we can isolate the stretch around the joint we're trying to improve. If we just do this with your hand, you will get some benefit, But as soon as you squeeze and then do it, all of a sudden it becomes more effective, because part of what's restricting the mobility through this wrist are the muscles and the tendons and ligaments and everything that goes through the forearm and the underarm through the elbow. And so by trapping it and tacking it and then doing our motion, it improves how effective that exercise is. All right, so we've gone through our explanation. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. If you're live, hashtag live, so I know that you're here following along and participating. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, so that I know that you showed up today for day one. So we know what we're doing. Let's go through it as if it's part of the full routine, which we're going to learn in about 9 days from now. All right, so how it's going to start: right leg up, squeeze the right forearm, hand and foot circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there you have it. We could do a little bit more, but for our purposes, 5 to 10 in each direction on each side. If you feel popping or clicking or anything like that, that's totally fine. If it feels painful or uncomfortable, then listen to your body and do what it allows you to do without feeling that kind of discomfort. Any questions that anybody has, drop them down in the comments. I'm getting some good stuff here. We got a few of you live. Suzanne is live. Cheryl is live. Cheryl, appreciate you joining the group here. We got another one. Love all the explanations and found it nice and easily. That's awesome. Perfect. So again, if you have any other questions, drop them down in the comments below. That way we can get to them as we move forward into tomorrow, and we can tailor all this content specifically for you and what you want. You just got to let me know, and then we can make sure that you get those answers. Awesome. Everybody, our 5 to 10 minutes are up. Hashtag live if you watched it live today. Hashtag replay if you caught the replay. Drop your comments and questions down below, and I'll catch you all tomorrow for day 2. Move better, play better.